If you're a coach who is tired of dancing and posting reels all over social media, for minimal returns, you're not alone. But before you hit that delete button on your social media accounts, I want to make sure that you don't make this mistake. And to keep myself on point, I have drawn some things up. Hopefully you can see this. And I just want to walk you through them and go into these in a little bit more detail. But the biggest mistake that I see female coaches, course creators making when they make the decision that social media and them are gonna part ways is that they do this. They stop creating content altogether. They go into a hermit cave, and I totally get why that's something that you'd want to do, because you are done with the crappy ROI that you're getting on social media. Totally get it. You're also likely tired of being bombarded with everyone saying social media is where you have to be, and you just don't gel with it anymore. Also, totally get it. But that doesn't mean that you stop creating content, and it doesn't mean that you stop sharing content. What it means is that you now need to pivot and come up with a different strategy. So here is what that looks like. And there are 3 parts to this strategy. Basically, you have to think about visibility. Where are you going to now be visible? Just because you're no longer on social media doesn't mean that you stop showing up for your audience, right? So where is that visibility going to take place? Then we want to talk about discoverability. How are you being discoverable? What does that look like? And when I talk about discoverability, what I'm really saying is, how can your audience find you based on what they are searching for? So it's a little bit of a different slant or a different nuance to SEO, search engine optimization. So visibility, discoverability. And then finally, you want to make sure that whatever it is that you are choosing to do, you're doing so on an owned platform. So let me dive into all of these points in detail, because I think there are nuances depending on where you are in your business and what that actually looks like for you. So when you quit social media, or when you are starting to make that transition, you might also start to feel anxious and even really worried about how you're going to be found. And this is what can often force you into a cave and just go, I'm not creating any content at all. I'm done, right? I'm absolutely done. But from a visibility perspective, and if you genuinely want to help the people that you're actually trying to help, then we still have to consider the fact that they still need to hear from us. It's just going to be in a different space. So where is that visibility space going to be? And typically this is going to be a long form content platform. Now, there are lots of different long form content platforms, but it's platforms where you have the ability to build a community. And that could be something like a blog, it could be a YouTube channel, it could be a podcast. It 100% wants to also be your email platform. So if you want to start a blog, for example, then you could look at Medium, you could look at Substack. You could even just start a blog on your website, right? It's up to you, but somewhere where people have the ability to communicate with you. That's what we're looking for. So visibility, what is your platform? And these are all platforms that you own depending on how you set them up. So there's nuances, right? So Medium and Substack, you don't own those, but people generally have to subscribe in order to access all of your content. So in that scenario, you do get to own the people who are subscribing. And let's just be clear, we don't own people, but we have the ability to get in front of them without having to pay to play, which is essentially what you're doing with social media now, if you actually want to be getting in front of the people that you're wanting to get in front of. So that's visibility, and it's about choosing a platform where you want to consistently show up, but in a strategic way, which leads me to point number 2, which is discoverability. So discoverability is very much about being discovered based on your ready to buy customer actually searching for information when they are ready. That's what discoverability is all about in the context of what we're talking about here. So when you're thinking about setting this up for yourself, when you're making that transition, when you're getting off social media, what is your discoverability going to be? What does that look like? Now, I like to be strategic. I definitely don't like to create a ton of content just for the sake of creating it. So think about it from the offers that you have. Take a look at your offer suite and reverse engineer. And what I mean by that is, for every individual offer that I create, I have a document called the Tangible Offer Framework. And inside that document are 8 different questions that I have to answer in order to make sure that I understand the audience for that offer, I understand the problems, I know what the tangible result is going to be, and I also understand some of the misbeliefs, conceptions that they might already have that might make them pause or hesitate in taking that next step. So with all of that in mind, it allows me to create content that's very much directed at that ready to buy customer based on an offer. In simple terms, the content that I'm creating is directly related to an offer so that I can optimize and point back to that offer. So that's visibility, discoverability, and then we've already touched on owned platform, and that is very much about owning the platform that you're directing people to. Wherever you're choosing to build that community, you want to make sure that you have the ability to get all of your content out in front of them without having to pay every time you do that. Now, of course, you always have to pay for an email platform, of course, but you don't have to pay for every single email that you send. The last time I checked my email account, I had sent over 1 million emails. Imagine if I'd had to pay for every single one of those, which is exactly what you have to do if you want to get in front of your audience on social media. If you even want to get the same type of conversion or open rate that you might be getting in your email platform, you would have to pay squillions to get that exact same number on social media. So that's why when I say owned platform, it's very much about the platform that you own and that you may have to be paying for, but you're not having to pay to get in front of that audience that you own on that specific platform. So to recap all the things, we are talking about making sure that if you are quitting social media, that you don't make the mistake of creating content, that you just stop creating altogether, and that you don't have a plan to back it up, right? You need visibility, discoverability, and an owned platform for all of that to work. And if you want my Tangible Offer Framework document, which will definitely help you on the visibility, discoverability side of things, then just comment below TOF and I will make sure that I get that into your hot little hands. So go ahead and start mapping this out for yourself. And if you want to take things further and understand what it looks like to create daily sales, this video coming up on your screen right now will help you start to craft your own daily cash flow checklist, which will also ensure that you're making daily sales without a whiff of social media insight. I'll see you in that video.